Hey, what's going on, guys? You're back with The Gentleman's Look. My name is Devon Darby, and today we're going to be discussing my top 4 picks of classic men's watches that I think every gentleman should know about and understand the origins of where these watches came from. Now, a wristwatch is an accessory that a man just needs to have. I mean, having a watch on your wrist, this shows punctuality, shows that you actually value your time, and it shows responsibility. So before we begin any video, I usually like to give a message that helps to groom an individual into becoming a better gentleman. As you know, I'm a spiritual individual. I think that everything, and I mean everything, starts with God. So because we're talking about watches today, I want to talk a little bit about God's timing. Now, I'm going to let you guys know it doesn't really matter how much of a hustler you are or how lofty your dreams are, or how much work you put into certain things. If it's not in conjunction with God's timing, it's not that it's not going to happen, but it's probably not going to happen when you want it to happen. We're just human beings. We want things in a hurry. We go off our own emotions and aspirations and things that we really value, and we put our own time limit on things that we want. But God doesn't want you to be anxious about anything. And why is that? Well, God doesn't want you to be anxious because whatever's done is already done. His plans are already made for you. And it's all about when He wants to release them to you. And it's all about His timing. He knows when it's the perfect time to give you what you need and when it's going to propel you forward. Sometimes if we gravitate to things that are not in God's plan, and even if we obtain them, it's probably going to take away from something that He's given you. So in other words, if you take something that God doesn't really have or planned for you, it's going to probably pull away from something that He does have planned for you and He is giving you. So try not to be too anxious about anything. Just move accordingly. Make all the right steps and the right moves that you want to make to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. And then leave it in God's hands. And trust me, when it's time, He'll bless whatever it is or whatever work that you put out there and make it into something special. And trust me, there's nothing better than waiting on a gift from God. That's my message to you guys. And without further ado, let's get into my first pick, which is the dress watch. Alright guys, so the dress watch came out of the 1900s, a little bit after the World War I in 1918. And in my opinion, the dress watch is the most exquisite, classic, and simplistic watch that you can own. The dress watch is normally worn during a formal event or with business attire. Just because of its simplicity, it gives a lot of respect. If you're invited to a formal event and you want to keep the attention on the host, you're a guest at the end of the day, so you want to make sure that your watch doesn't stand out too much where you're drawing all of the attention to you. And if it's a business meeting, you want to have respect for the nature of the meeting as well. You're not trying to make a fashion statement, even though this dress watch is a part of your fashion attire. Now, dress watches are normally in a white facing or off-white facing. But with modern technology and different innovations and styles, you will see a lot of dress watches have blue faces or gold faces or even black faces. But normally it came in a white face for a clean and simplistic look. Now with the dials of the watch, you'll see Roman numerals because it just has a very subtle vibe to it. It's giving the watch a less cluttered look as opposed to having the numbers in the watch. So you just want to make sure that it's very clean and it just goes well with a suit or a tuxedo, and it maintains that clean vibe to your outfit. So a dress watch is definitely a classic menswear staple that you need in your wardrobe. It can go well for any attire, to be honest with you, but it's definitely worn for a more serious look. Next, we're going to talk about the aviator watch. Now, the aviator watch is another watch that came out of the 1900s. Now, the aviator watch always has a black facing. As you know, the aviator watch, or maybe you don't know, the aviator watches were worn by pilots. Now, when you're in that cockpit, it's absolutely pitch dark. So to have white notches on the watch against a black face, it shows a high contrast so that a pilot can easily read the dials quickly if he wanted to glance at his watch. Aviator watches are normally quite large in casing, anywhere between 42 and 50 millimeters big in casing, just to make it very easy to read. You don't want to be squinting and taking your eyes off those clouds when you're piloting. You don't want to take your eyes off too much to see what time it is. So they make sure that the facing is really big for easy viewing. Today's modern society, as you know, fashion is always constantly reinventing itself. You have so many different aviator watches out there. Some have green facing, some have brown, some have gray, but the original contrast was black and white. It's just really easy for a pilot to be able to tell the time, and it's not much more to that. Okay, next we're going to talk about the chronograph watch, which is one of the most oldest watches out there, coming out of the 1800s. This watch is used as a stopwatch as well as a display watch. Now you see those two other analogs that are inside of the face of the watch? Those are actually used for something. Those are separate dials that are used to measure seconds, minutes, or even tenths of a second. Astronauts usually wore these watches because of the precision and timing. As you can see why these watches are so important. Now with more modern and new innovative ways of creating chronograph watches, they've managed to make watches in the piloting arena or car racing or water activity arena. So you'll have some diver watches, or you'll have some aviator watches that have the chronograph style to it. But originally it was used as just a stopwatch or to measure different seconds and minutes and things like that. And you can see why it's definitely beneficial, especially in the car racing arena. And last but not least, we're going to talk about the diver watch. Now, as mentioned in the title, it's a watch that was made for divers. Typically, these watches back in the days were specially made for certain individuals, like a custom watch, and they used to refer to it as an explorer's watch. Now, most divers' watches have a water resistance of 200 to 300 meters, which is roughly 660 to 980 feet. Now, these watches usually are pretty much simple in the facing. There's not a lot of clutter, and they're highly illuminated dials, so that if a diver is going deep into dark waters, they would easily be able to tell the time. The rotating bezel divers usually have a mechanism that doesn't allow the watch or the bezel of the watch to rotate in the opposite direction backwards. Should a diver ever bump his or her hand on a rock or some type of object underwater, it won't disturb the natural reading, because as you know, a diver needs to know exactly how long he's or she has been underwater. So this mechanism prohibits the bezel from moving backwards to give it an accurate reading. Again, with more modern technology, these divers' watches used to be in stainless steel, but now they have them in a more silicone or rubber wristband, just to make sure that everything is pretty much waterproof. And usually those wristbands are colorful for easy spotting under the water. You can easily spot a diver with an orange or royal blue or red or some type of vibrant color wristband. But yeah, divers' watches are normally sporty, so if you're into having an everyday watch that is very durable, being that it's made with considering pressure and water resistance and all of these things, and they're usually robust watches, they're pretty big. So if you're into that sporty look, having a diver's watch for an everyday watch is definitely recommended. Alright guys, well that concludes our video. I hope you guys learned something about watches, and maybe when you're going to the mall or the shop for new watches, you'll have a better understanding of its usage and which watch style best fits your personality. Now, if you don't remember anything else out of this video, just understand there's nothing wrong with creating timelines and deadlines for things that you want to accomplish. But God has created time, and there's nothing more important than being on His timing. After you've done all that you can possibly do, just let God do what He does. Trust me, He does it well. If you like the content at this channel, please subscribe and help the channel to grow. I'm going to continue to produce more content and discuss various different things that will help you on your journey to being a gentleman, and as well as help myself. I learn a lot from researching in these videos that I do. So again, like I said in the beginning, we're going to grow together and we're going to help each other as it is intended to be. So I love you guys, and I hope to see you guys back in the next video. And as always, I'm sending you off in style. Bye bye, guys.